If you ever meet me, you're going to find out that I'm a stubborn person. And sometimes that's an amazing quality to have as a creator, and other times it's just not great whatsoever. It causes you to miss out on a lot of money. And in this video, I'm going to explain why and the system that I now use to ensure that my own stubbornness doesn't get in my way. So why is stubbornness good? Because as a creator, you hit a lot of walls, you hit a lot of difficulties, and one of the traits that you can have is persistence. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing forward, right? And the outside world will see that as you being stubborn, but it's that belief that you have that, no, like, I'm going to make this work just because I just know this is what I'm meant to do, which is amazing. But the problem with that is sometimes we can't separate that feeling from what is actually working and not working. We might say, well, no, all the gurus tell us, keep pushing, keep moving forward. We got to stick with this, because if we could stick with this, we're going to be good. But when you think about a plane, let's look down at the magic pad here, and let's draw a plane, okay? This plane is going somewhere. This plane wants to go here. If I can get it. Okay, this plane wants to go here. And the plane is starting here. I don't feel like drawing a crazy plane, so this is the plane. The plane is starting here. Ideally, to get to X, the plane will just do this. And if it does that, the faster it's moving, the faster it'll get to X. And that's amazing, right? Because then it gets to its destination. Everybody on board's happy. They clap for the pilot. The flight attendants don't get any props whatsoever, which is a shame, but everybody's happy except for the flight attendants who didn't get their props. The problem is, what if this plane is just 1 degree off? And it's going 1 degree and it's staying 1 degree. It missed its target, right? And we're doing a little trigonometry or geometry or whatever stuff. We'll just say that's 1 degree and it's off. It doesn't matter how fast it goes. In fact, what happens is when you're stubborn, you're going faster because you're like, no, I know this is the right thing. And because I know this is the right thing, I'm going to push it harder. I am going to grind. I'm going to hustle, and zoom. You like that airplane noise? Zoom. You zoomed right past your destination. And the problem is you're still going, the plane's still going, and wondering, damn, when am I going to hit it? When am I going to reach the X? And it just keeps going until eventually the pilot looks around and goes, I think we missed it. And so what happens is you come all the way back here. You come all the way back here and you go, what did I do? What did I do? And so you start another journey. But this journey, you might end up going this way, or this way, or this way. You might do everything except for go straight to X. All because you're stubborn. Because you believe, no, this is what I got to do. This is the direction I got to go. Okay, that's what we need to correct. Because this just leads to frustration, burnout, jealousy of other people, because you're looking at other people and you're like, that's not fair. Like, they're not as good as me. Why are they succeeding in everything? So what can we do? Well, what we can do is we can kind of have some barriers set up. Okay, we can look at 3 things to see if we're executing upon those things, we should be heading in the right direction. Okay, and with an online business, the 3 things are pretty simple. We got content, or marketing, however you want to say it. But in the online world, it's always content, right? Content, your offer, and your delivery. When you nail these 3 things, you hit the X. You arrive at the X. When you don't hit one of them, then you're kind of like 1 degree off. When you don't hit 2 of them, then you're 2 degrees off. If you don't hit all 3 of them, then you're going in reverse, right? And we don't want to go in reverse. And so if we can have frameworks that can help us with each of these, then we're onto something. So with content, we want our content to do work for us. We want our content to be our marketing and our sales, because we don't want to get to the point where we feel like every sale has to be earned or every cell we have to prove ourselves, right? That's just exhausting. And when things are exhausting in business, then we just don't want to do business, and that's not what we want. Okay, so with content, there's 3 layers. Layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. Now, what are these 3 layers? Layer 1 is attention. We can break this up further by saying outcomes, problems. I'm really getting messy with this, but we're going for it here. And mechanisms. As you can see, when you're 1 degree off, even your writing starts going, I don't know how we ended up going that way. Layer 2 is connection. Okay, so here we have opinions, however you try to spell it sometimes, worldviews, and experiences. Okay. Layer 3 is the conversion, or the identity layer. And I won't write it, but you have identity, belonging, and transformation. So the idea is if you create content that has all 3 of these layers, then you should be doing a good job and going in the right direction. Now, the content itself still has to be good. You have to be engaging in some way and all that kind of stuff. This isn't just a checklist where you go, okay, well, I do talk about these things in some way, so my content's good. No, there's other things that are involved. But if you can have these as the foundation of your content, then that gives you the impression that, yeah, you're going in the right direction. Then we're looking at the offer. Well, offer, what we can have is what we call the Bones framework. And it's just big, obvious, new, easy, safe. And we just want to make sure that our offer checks all these things off. If it does, then by the time the people see our offer and they're aware of it, they feel good about it, then they're more likely to buy. Delivery, I don't really have a cool framework with delivery because delivery is just going to happen in a lot of different ways. Basically, we just want to make sure that our people can get to X, destination X, as quickly, as smoothly, and easily as possible. So if your delivery is off, and delivery has 2 sides to it. So delivery is you and them. If the you part requires all of your time, let's draw a clock here, requires all of your time, you become exhausted. And then that means you can't do any of the content. And when you don't do any content, then you're not bringing people in. And then you have this feast and famine cycle, right? Where you work really hard to bring people in, but then you have to work really hard in servicing them. And because you're servicing them, you can't bring more people in. And then you realize you're losing money or not making any money. So then you have to stop servicing those people and work on bringing in more people. But because you stop servicing those people, then those people get frustrated with you. And it develops this vicious cycle. I've been in this a number of times. It sucks. Don't get into it. Okay. And then you have the them where the people might go, this is taking too long to get the result that I want. I don't feel good about this experience, all that kind of stuff. And when that happens, then you don't get good testimonials. You don't get good case studies. These people aren't talking to you to other people to make the whole marketing job easier. And again, it's just not good. So if you can nail the content, the offer, and delivery, then you're going to get to your destination X. So we can kind of look at those things. We can look at the 3 layers. Okay, is my content doing this? Then we can look at bones, is my offer doing this? And then we just check the delivery. Am I getting the people the results that they want within a reasonable time? If we're doing those things, and we don't need analytics at this point, right? Because at this point you have no data. Let's just assume you have no data to look at. We can go, all right, I feel good about this. And that's where stubbornness can start to work out. Okay, I feel good about the direction we're going, because you have to pick a direction at some point. I feel good about the direction we're going. But now that we understand these things and we start putting content out there, for example, then we can start looking at data. Now, the data that we're going to look at isn't going to be, the data that we all get obsessed with, views, followers, like those things. What we're going to look at is dollar per view. And this totally depends on what platform you're on. I'm saying view because you're watching this on YouTube. So I'm not going, well, hopefully I get 100,000 views on this video, which, I mean, would be cool, but 100,000 views to the wrong people means I don't make any money. So then it's pointless. But if I only get 1,000 views to this video, but 10 people sign up for my offer, then that's amazing. And so we're looking overall at what content is converting. And converting doesn't always have to mean what content is creating the sale. It just means like what content is getting people to take the next action that we want them to take. So I might have an Instagram situation, we'll say Insta here, where this is my Instagram profile, and I'm putting out reels. With Instagram, people get so fascinated and so hooked on the idea of, am I getting a lot of views? Am I doing all these things? But what I would care about is, I have my YouTube here, and let's say I have this amazing long form YouTube video that I want to send people to. What I would want to care about is, let's say I have a mini chat set up on this one here. How many people are commenting whatever word so I can send them the link to go here? So is this content doing a good job of sending people there, right? That would be the metric and conversion I'd be looking for there. With this video, yes, then I'm looking at the, how much money am I making per view? Because this video is going to link directly to the offer and send people to the offer. For you, it might link people to a sales call or signing up on a landing page for an opt-in or something, right? But that's what we're looking at. How effective is our content at doing the job that we are hiring it to do? Because if we look at each piece of content that we have as a marketing person or a salesperson, it has a job to do. Is it doing its job? Its job isn't just to get attention, because if that's its job, then it's pointless, right? It's kind of like being the sign spinner on the side of the road where everybody's like, oh, yeah, I see you spinning that sign. That's amazing. I know the name of the store now. Thanks. And then people never go to the store, right? That's pointless and everything. So that's the metric we want to look at for that. If I start to see like the content I'm pushing out isn't doing well with the certain data, and there's no baseline, right? There's no, well, I should be making $5 per YouTube video, right? I could come up with a number, but what I should do is say, okay, my first 10 videos, this is how much money I'm making per YouTube video. That's my baseline, right? That's setting the tone. Okay, now that I know that my first 10 YouTube videos are making me, let's just say $10 per view. Now I want to see what adjustments I can make by looking at my 3 layers. What adjustments can I make to my content to, let's see if I can get it up to $15 per view. Okay, and that's where, when we talk about the stubbornness, having this kind of data and looking at this kind of removes the stubbornness from you, because numbers don't lie. So if I'm looking at these numbers and the numbers are saying, man, you're only doing this, your content's only making you this much, me being stubborn would just be silly. Then I just have to go, oh, okay, let me make these adjustments. Okay, now that I made these adjustments, this is what I got to do. And what this also does, this also prevents you from hopping on trends and just trying to do things to build up those vanity type of metrics. Now, over time, what will happen is, if I know I'm getting my money per views up, then I might start saying, okay, I think my opening of my videos is a little weak. So what are people doing? Trending wise, what are people doing, right? And then I can start looking at those things and start implementing them into my videos. Then that makes sense. Then when it comes to the offer, I'd say, okay, when people are coming to the sales page, is that converting? And if that's not converting, it doesn't necessarily mean the sales page is bad. It could also mean that, my content isn't doing its job. But let's say I assume my content is doing its job, but the sales page is not converting, or my sales calls are converting, then I have to look at, the bone structure here. What am I not doing well here? What thing can be improved? A lot of times you'll find that it's either it doesn't feel obvious, or it doesn't feel big to your audience. And because of that, they're just like, whatever, I'm not down with that. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not obvious. Or, yeah, I can see how you're helping me, but that's not something I'm really trying to solve right now. So it's not big enough in that sense. Okay, so we had that checklist. So then I just come back and prove that, go back putting more content out, see what happens with it. Then when it comes to deliverability, I say deliverability, I just get to go, okay, are people getting the results? Oh, it seems to be like people are getting stuck here at this point. Okay, let me make this adjustment. People are seen to be taking 6 months to complete something when it should be taking 3 months. One of the reasons I developed a whole new system, like I tore down every offer I had and I rebuilt a whole new system from scratch, was because people were getting stuck at certain points where they shouldn't be getting stuck. And so not only that I had to change my whole content system, but I had to change my whole offer and how it worked for people. Because the reason why I had to change the content system is because I found that I was getting plenty of people, right? The content was getting people to buy. So it felt like the content and offer were right, but they weren't getting the results that they should have. And so part of the problem was the offer a little bit, but another part of the problem was I was just bringing in the wrong people. When I start bringing in the right people, then those right people see with the offer, they go through the offer, and it just clicks for them. And because I understand this framework and how things are going, again, I remove the stubbornness from myself. I don't have to be stubborn. I don't have to sit there and go, no, I feel like I'm going in the right direction. What we're doing here, if we're going to stick with this plane analogy, is if I'm going off course, let me get a different color. If I'm going off course here, then before I even pass the X and I'm right here, what I can do is I can look at the terrain. These are eyeballs. I can look at the terrain and say, this doesn't feel right. Let me course correct. So instead of having to come all the way back here, I'm course correcting and I'm making an adjustment. And that's what I'm talking about with all these numbers and stuff that we're looking at. It's not about, you do this so you don't have to start over, but you can just make slight course corrections until you hit that X. That's what we're going for. But when you're stubborn, again, when you're stubborn, you ignore pausing and looking at terrain and you just keep going, then who knows where the hell you're going to end up. And that's not good. So when you keep this stuff in mind here, you'll be solid. I can't tell you how often that my ego told me I was doing things right, and 6 months later I look and I go, well, I'm not getting any of the results I want. And then I sat down and I analyzed things and it just became obvious. Oh, well, you're obviously going in the wrong direction and you kept on going faster. And because you told yourself you had to go faster, you start being negative to yourself. Like, oh man, I should be working harder, right? I started feeling guilty. When I'd hang out with my kids, I'd feel guilty. Like, no, I should be working because I'm not where I'm at yet. But now it's different. Now I know I'm going in the right direction. Now I know I can apply more speed whenever I want. But when I'm away from the computer and I'm hanging out with my family, there's that guilt's not there. I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. And that's a good place to be, right? That's where I want you to be and everything. But that requires you to be able to do this kind of self-analysis to see, am I going in the right direction? Am I doing the right thing? Hopefully I am. If I am, then great. If not, let me start course correcting. Because I don't want to fly past the destination I want to and burn myself out. If we're going with plane analogy, because I like sticking with the analogies, I run out of fuel, that's burning out, right? That makes sense. I run out of fuel and my plane crashes. And then I got to walk all the way back to the airport and start another plane. That's what creators usually do, right? We crash and burn, we give up, say we're not doing this, and then 3 months later we come back to jump at it again and everything. But I don't want that to happen for you, unless it's already happened for you. If it's already happened for you, then look at what we've talked about here and let's get that fixed. If you want to see how all this comes together, then check out the video that I have linked below, and I'll show you how to do it with a different analogy, with a bridge. And within the bridge analogy, we'll break down how to really nail down and find that right content to make sure you do the right offer and you have the deliverability and a couple other elements, and everything will start clicking when you go through it. Again, just link below. It's good stuff. You'll like it. But all right, it's your man Scribs. Until next time, peace.